Okay, what's going on, guys? So today we've got a video that you've probably seen a lot of others very similar on YouTube lately because some interesting stuff just happened in the One Piece community. I'm sure most of you have already seen the recent interview of Oda that was done and translated by Sandman, and it's really had the One Piece community in an uproar considering the first point of it is that the Wano arc is not going to be starting for 1 to 2 years according to Oda himself. But like I said, you guys have already probably heard about all this, so I'm not even going to touch on that. I just want to say what I think this means. What could it possibly mean that Wano is going to be in 1 to 2 years from now, despite the fact that Whole Cake Island is clearly coming to an end, maybe 10, absolute maximum of 15 more chapters, and we would just have assumed that Wano is going to be starting almost immediately after. But to be completely honest, when I heard this, after I thought about it for like 30 seconds, I was like, you know, it actually makes pretty good sense. Like, I was considering the possibility of a Reverie arc being before Wano. I wasn't just 100% sure it was going to be after, and I didn't really know how long it was going to be, so that made sense. And I also think that there is potential for another arc before Wano. But I'll get to that later in the video. For now, I want to talk about the Reverie arc, what we can expect from it, especially since it looks like it's going to have to be a lot bigger than some people might have expected, like 50 chapters. So first off, I want to talk about how I think this is all going to begin, and I have to give credit to Roger Space for this one, because he's the person who I saw come up with this idea. I don't know if anyone else has put this together, but I've just heard it from him so far, so credit goes to him for this. But right now, we've seen that the Germa are looking for the Straw Hats, and we weren't sure what exactly they're looking for them for, why exactly they care, do they want revenge, do they want to say thanks to Sanji, what's going on with that? But it seems like now that the Germa consider Straw Hats potential allies, and they might want to bring them to the Reverie in some kind of way. If you think about it, it's not completely out of place or anything, but it did seem very meaningful at the beginning of this arc when, I forget which one of the Vinsmoke brothers it was, but they were telling Sanji how they're such an important kingdom that they actually get invited to the Reverie. So with Reverie clearly being something that's going to happen before Wano and Germa 66 looking for the Straw Hats, it seems to me that they see them as potential allies, or at least they would like to use them to get something done at the Reverie, and they're gonna be like, alright guys, let's go, we're going, you're gonna fuck some shit up, okay, you're not going to Wano just yet. This could open up so many possibilities for the future, I can't even begin to explain it. First of all, I would just like to say that there's really no evidence supporting this or anything. I just have this major gut feeling that if they do become allied in some way, if they do go to the Reverie together, there's going to be some kind of massive battle, including the Germa 66 and the Straw Hats, against the world government in some way. I don't know exactly who they'd fight, but it would be some kind of battle. And I reckon in this fight, that either Judge, Niji, or Ichiji would die. Not necessarily all of them, probably only one if anything, but I would bet that one of them would die. I'm leaning towards Judge since he's kind of Sanji's dad and he probably deserves to die more than anyone else since he was a complete asshole to him. And at the very least, the brothers are brothers, so that's kind of what you do to your brothers, and they're not really even human, so it kind of makes more sense for them to act that way. But yeah, I think this is really important because a lot of people, including myself, feel like while Whole Cake Island was supposed to be like the year of Sanji, we just didn't really get what we wanted to see out of him. It just didn't really compare to the other arcs where a certain character got a lot of development. It honestly feels like it's missing something, and a lot of people would even say that they like Sanji even less after this arc. So what exactly could make that all better? Well, if they show up to Reverie and perhaps Judge or one of his brothers die, Sanji might get really fucking pissed off and do something insane, or just, I mean the fact that one of his biological family members dies, it's just he would have some kind of reaction that would really change his character, I feel like. So I'm not 100% sure about this, but all you people who are really disappointed in the Sanji development in Whole Cake Island, just sit tight. I really do believe it is coming in the near future. And it could, in fact, happen in a way way better than anything we could have possibly imagined. I'm really excited for this. Of course, that does mean there is the possibility that Reiju could end up dying, since that would have a massive effect on Sanji, but I don't think Oda is trying to commit career suicide, so that probably won't happen. No one has to get too scared about that. I think it's going to either be, probably not even really Niji, Judge, or Ichiji. Honestly, the most disappointing thing about this all to me is that Franky is most likely not going to be there, since I believe he's either on Zo or going to Wano. Either way, it doesn't really make a difference, since he's probably not going to be at the Reverie. It's probably going to be all the people from Whole Cake Island, since, like, what, are they going to go all the way to Wano and be like, no, we're here, but we're going to come back later? Like, no, that doesn't really make any sense. I would like Franky to be there because he's kind of like the inventor, scientist of the crew, and Germa 66 is supposed to be like the ultimate scientific kingdom of all time. So I think it would be cool for him to meet them, but I don't think it's going to happen. So then I have some smaller points that I think are pretty much guaranteed to happen at the Reverie, but we don't really know what they're going to lead to, so there's not much to say about it. For example, I think we are going to, for the first time, see Green Bull, Ryokyugyu, if I believe I'm saying it correctly. I mean, I would be pretty goddamn surprised if he doesn't show up at this point. Like, I'm pretty surprised that they've waited this long, honestly. So if it's not going to be at the Reverie where the world government all comes together and they discuss things, then when the hell would this guy show up? Is he even real? Is Oda just been... Is this like just a big joke? But that is going to be extremely exciting, since we will then most likely, as long as a battle does break out, get to see Green Bull's abilities, all the things he can do, as well as possibly confirm the theories for the new theme of the Admirals. I know the old one was like heaven, earth, and water, being, you know, Kizaru was like heaven because he does stars or whatever, because it's light, and Akainu was earth because it's magma, and Aokiji was water, kind of, I guess, because he's like ice related. And I've seen a lot of theories about the new theme of the Admirals being time, space, because Kizaru still is light, so there's that. Fujitora is gravity, and then what does that leave for Green Bull? Is it going to be some kind of like time-related fruit? Can he go back in time or something? I don't know, but I expect it to be amazing. Oda has stated that he really enjoys drawing him. He looks super cool, according to Oda, so I am hyped for Green Bull. And then another interesting thing we have is Fujitora, yet another admiral. What exactly is he going to do? A lot of people think he is going to make his big move here. I even have a video on it. You should definitely go check that out. But yeah, I mean, after the end of Dressrosa, where Fujitora and Akainu got in that screaming match, it became evident that he was most likely going to be banned from the Reverie, since it is, I would imagine, going to be taking place in a government building. Yet at the same time, he was telling Dofi about how he was excited for the Reverie and he was planning on making some big changes in the world, specifically related to the Warlord system. So how is he going to do that? What is he going to say? What is he going to propose to the Reverie? I don't know, but I am beyond excited for that as well. That is going to make a huge difference in the story for sure. Not to mention, if Luffy is actually coming to the Reverie and Fujitora is just waiting outside, then that would be the perfect opportunity for him to fight Luffy like he told Akainu that he would. But we will just have to see on that as well. Another interesting character who I believe is actually going to be showing up at the Reverie, I haven't heard this before, but I think there's a good possibility, is Edward Weevil. We have seen almost nothing about this guy at all. We haven't even really heard about the things he's done, just a little bit. He thinks he's Whitebeard's son. Who really knows? We just got like a, 1 minute little shot of him. Didn't really understand anything about him, his ideologies, what he wants to do, but we know he's a warlord, so I think there is the potential that he will show up there. We've seen that sometimes warlords do show up at government meetings, such as Mihawk showing up, Dofi, Kuma at that one meeting when they technically did call the warlords, but as they said, usually the warlords just ignore them. I don't really know what to expect from the guy, but if he does end up showing up, I think we'll learn a good amount about him. I bet he will cause a ruckus. I bet he'll just start talking about how he's Whitebeard's true son, and no one's really going to care, especially since the world government was responsible for killing Whitebeard, and they are happy that they did so. But, who really knows? Well, what can we expect from this guy? I don't know. And lastly, the thing that everyone's been expecting for a while now. I don't want to talk too much about this because I would like to make a separate video on it at some point. But obviously, people think that the Revolutionary Army are going to be coming to the Reverie to shake shit up. I'm not sure if it's going to be a long, drawn-out battle due to this, maybe Dragon's just gonna come in some kind of like wind style, just appears on the middle of a table or something, I don't know, and he gives some badass speech and then just disappears. Maybe it'll be as simple as that. A lot of people though think there's going to be a massive battle, including the majority of the Revolutionary Army and whoever is at the Reverie. If this is the case, then we can expect Dragon to use his abilities. We'll finally get to understand how powerful he is, what kind of abilities he has. We'll get to see more of Sabo, maybe a rematch with Fujitora when they're actually both going all out. I'm sure Green Bull would have some kind of fight. I don't know who it would be. He's fighting. Maybe it is Dragon. I don't know, but who would that leave Kizuru with? It's hard to say. Who really is that strong in the Revolutionary Army that we haven't seen yet? Like, we know that Sabo's the number 2, but now that Kuma's gone, like, who is next to him in power? It's definitely not Koala, and I don't think it's Ivankov, since he didn't really seem that powerful, so... But yeah, I don't want to dig myself too deep into this point because, like I said, I am going to be making a video on this in the future, so I don't want to just keep repeating myself in that video. So I think that pretty much covers everything that I have thought of at first glance for the Reverie arc. There's not too much more to say about it. I think it's going to be huge compared to maybe just like the 10 to 20 chapters that we were thinking before. We thought it might just be an actual little meeting, but I think there's going to be a lot more to it now. Now, the thing that's interesting is, if Oda would have said that we have to be waiting a year for the Wano arc, that would have made a lot more sense for just maybe a massive Reverie arc, a big Reverie arc that would take up an entire year, and that would be a long time. But he said 1 to 2 years, so what exactly could he be expecting to take up to 100 chapters? Well, I think it's more fair to say that it's going to be like 1.5 years, so it's not going to be a full 2 years, maybe only even a year too. But I think that there is going to be a small arc either before or after the Reverie arc, still before Wano, that is not the Reverie. The more I thought about it, I think it makes sense that we're not going to just get to Wano and Marco just shows up out of nowhere. I think there's a good chance that we're going to get to see the actual story of Neko going and finding Marco. Whether or not it's as soon as he finds him or we get to see his actual journey to him, I don't know, but I think that that's going to happen. I think we're actually going to see the Finding Marco arc. Like I've said in past videos, and I have gotten a lot of hate for this, but this guy is one of the most underestimated characters in the entire series. He's one of my favorite characters, and I think that he deserves some kind of huge build-up like this, some kind of huge build-up for a return, likes of which we've never seen. I think this guy might end up being the strongest player in the Straw Hat Alliance in Wano, so I don't want him to just come out of nowhere and save the day. Like, that would be kind of lame. I want to see him. I want to see how they find him, what exactly he was doing before he gets to Wano. We have to consider that the Whitebeard pirates were, as far as we know, wiped out by the Blackbeard pirates in the skirmish war, so what their whereabouts are, what Marco could be doing right now is completely unknown, although Neko said he did have some idea. Unfortunately, he didn't let us know what that idea is, but I'm sure we're going to find out. I think it's going to be a very cool little arc, maybe 15 to 30 chapters depending on what Oda wants to do with it. I think it's really going to enhance the story overall. It's going to be a cool arc by itself, and even more so for enhancing the Wano arc. So that's pretty much all I have to say relating to the interview with Oda. Definitely leave me comments letting me know what you think about these ideas I've come up with. Maybe some ideas that I missed that other people came up with that are really good. Like Roger Base's Germa point, I thought that was really interesting. Also remember to leave me comments for future videos, maybe versus battles, you know, the normal drill. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I really would appreciate some comments about the future versus battles you'd like to see, since I am again doing one on Wednesdays, so I want to know what you guys want to see. And that's pretty much it. Until the next interview, I'll talk to you guys later.